As you know, this week we are doing a very short course on Buddhist meditations. All these meditations, all these lessons are based on certain books written by Buddhist teachers, and I'm trying to do my best in extracting that wisdom and passing it on to you. Today, in this podcast, I will try to address some of the common problems that you may face during meditation. This is especially important if you are a beginner and have no prior experience of any kind of meditation. So let me talk about some of these basic challenges. The first challenge that a lot of beginners face is that of restlessness and distractions. At times, what happens during a meditation session, the mind gets very restless and your attention is continually distracted by different things. This can include certain external objects like sounds or noise coming from outside, but it can also be an internal distraction such as memories of the past, fantasies or thoughts about the future, and that non-stop chatter in your head about what is going on in the present. These thoughts, they don't come alone. In fact, they create certain disturbing emotions as they grow in your head. These emotions can be that of anger, fear, doubt, sadness. It can take varied forms. Normally, in our day-to-day life, we let our mind run like this without trying to control it. Therefore, mental wandering, this has it has become a deeply ingrained habit inside us. But there are a number of ways for counteracting this kind of mental excitement. The one key solution, and we will discover that in the next podcast, is about focusing firmly on your breath and letting your mind stay calm as the natural rhythm of the breathing takes over. This is a really effective method for a beginner. Every time your attention wanders, you get distracted, you bring your attention back to the breath. The good thing about the breath is you can stay with it all the time, wherever you are, whatever you are doing. If you ever get distracted, you can just start focusing on breath. And then you'll realize how your attention improves and how your mind becomes calm. Since we are talking about Buddhist meditations in this podcast, let me tell you an effective method to avoid distractions which comes from Tibetan Buddhism. It's called 9-round breathing practice. You just have to follow these simple 3 steps and you will see how easy and comfortable this method is. The first step is, for the first 3 breaths, breathe in through the right nostril, out through the left. That means you take the air through the right nostril, closing your left nostril, and then you let it come out through the left nostril by keeping the right nostril closed. Similarly, in the second step, we do the opposite. For the next 3 breaths, we breathe in through the left nostril and let it come out from the right. Then, in the third step, the last 3 breaths that we take, we use both the nostrils for in and out. That's all. Use this method and you'll feel much calmer and better able to focus. Another challenge that the beginners usually have is that of sleepiness or dullness. The very opposite of excitement, which we saw in the previous problem, the mental excitement, the disturbance, the anxiety, the opposite of that is sleepiness. This sleepiness can vary from a dull, listless state of mind to near unconsciousness. It is once again related to another of our habits. That is, when we close our eyes and relax our body and mind, it is generally time to go to sleep. But this doesn't have to be the case. So, what do we do in this case? First, we make sure our posture is right. We have to make sure that our back is straight and head is not bent forward too far. You can open your eyes halfway and meditate with your gaze directed at the floor in front of you. Increasing the amount of light in the room, that also helps in avoiding this sleepiness. But if you've taken all these measures and you still feel dull and sleepy, then it would be best to take a break. You can splash cold water on your face, get some fresh air, do some stretching and come back. Or you can try the meditation session some other day, some other time. Another challenge that you might face during meditations is that of physical discomfort. Your meditations will flow smoothly if your body is relaxed and comfortable. However, it can be difficult to get into that state because much of our physical tension is mind related, arising from unresolved fears, anxieties, worries, stress. So, the really good long-term solution would be to recognize these problems and work on them. And how do you work on them? You work on them by adopting certain meditation practices, the specific ones for those specific problems. What about the short-term methods that immediately brings ease in your body? That would be to sit upright and trying to ease the physical tension with your attention. Just close your eyes and start focusing at the top of your head and travel downwards through the body. Concentrate briefly on each part and consciously let it relax. Imagine at every point that the tension is simply dissolving. Another method is to breathe deeply and slowly. And with much concentration, imagine that the tension or the pain leaves your body with each exhalation. One common problem that beginners usually encounter is that of noise. And although we recognize it is best to meditate in a quiet place, we know that it's not always going to be possible to find one. But the interesting thing here is, as you practice more and more, you'll realize that the noise itself is not really a problem. The problem is our mind, how the mind reacts to a particular kind of noise. What is noise really? It is some kind of sound coming to us, disturbing our mind. When we play our favorite music, certain sounds come to us through our ears and enter our brains, and we enjoy that experience. Similarly, when certain annoying kind of noise enters our mind, we feel irritated And as we start practicing, we'll recognize and work on our mind. We'll see that it's just the reaction of the mind. It is simply reacting to these external sensations. That is all it is doing. So we don't really have to worry about it. Of course, it'll be great if we can find a quiet place in the beginning, but what I'm trying to say here is that in the long terms, it won't really be a problem. In fact, you would be able to meditate in all kind of environments, even when there is a lot of noise. In fact, some of the people, they enjoy working in or meditating in noisy environments. This kind of helps them in building their concentration. One last common problem I'll talk about here, which is that when people meditate for the first time and they close their eyes, they see a lot of images. And this is becoming increasingly common when we use different multimedia devices, cell phones, laptops, TV screens. The moment we close our eyes, and because of the fact that we have taken in so much of information, our mind has so many images, pictures, videos, sounds. We see unusual, strange images and sensations as soon as we close our eyes. What do we do in this case? Once again, you don't need to worry. These are just normal reactions as the mind adjusts itself to a new activity. All you need to do is just observe these images and without clinging onto them or without rejecting them, just observe them. Let them come and go away. Let them come and go away. And you will realize the more aware you become of all these sensations, whether external or internal, you'll feel much better about it. You'll be able to let go a lot of feelings, noises, sensations. You'll be much more at ease with yourself. And that is the whole purpose of meditation.